and welcome back to Mads World. I'm your host Mads, and I hope you've been enjoying the show so far. If you have, it would mean loads to me if you could subscribe, rate and review the podcast on Apple Podcasts or Spotify or your favourite listening platform. Most importantly, if you like the show, just sharing it with your mates is a great way to support Mads World, so get chatting. This week we welcome back the lovely Sam Williams from episode 2. You might remember Sam from our episode all about being stood up on dates. So you'll hear our chat about the strangest things people have done before and after sex, including your best submissions. So listen closely because you may hear your own. Now, without further ado, let's welcome back Sam. Hello, Sam.
Hi, Maddie.
How are you?
I'm good, thanks. Just getting through another day in lockdown.
As we all are, except over in Australia. I was talking to my brother this morning and I said, why don't you come and visit me? And he goes, ugh, I'm not stepping foot in your plague-ridden country.
Yeah, I mean, everyone in Australia right now is just like sucked in England, basically.
Seriously, I remember a few months ago when we weren't in lockdown and they were. I was like, you idiots, sort it out.
Yeah, and now look at them laughing. My sister was at a gig yesterday. I'm like, a live music gig? What?
Not fair. Not even a little bit fair. Well, you guys out there listening might remember Sam from episode 2 called Stood Up Comedy. So if you want to know the basics about Sam, go back and have a listen to that episode. But I thought maybe instead of our regular speed date round, we could do a more special speed date round, which is sort of based on something I'm working on behind the scenes, which I will give you guys more information on soon. So, Sam, what would you back yourself in a competition for?
So this was a tricky one. When you sent this question through to me, I was like, oh my God, I'm just like not competitive. As you know, like nobody wants me on their Articulate team because I just don't care that much. I'm like, It's just a game, guys. And everyone's like, no, try harder. Anyway, I was thinking about it for a long time. And then I was like, oh, I did win a competition once. It was on Kentucky. So you and I traveled through southern states of America, basically. So there was a group of about 30 of us. And I think one night, I can't remember where we were, Texas maybe. And they basically did a table competition. It was like who can balance a spoon on their nose for the longest time. And I essentially ate the whole dinner with the spoon on my nose, whereas other people, it was slipping off within like the first 1 to 2 minutes. And I think I did about a good 25 minutes of spoon holding. So
that's
probably
stunning work by you. You know what? My ex-boyfriend in Oz used to say I have a koala nose, which I think is too flat and smooth to hold a spoon. But, I mean, you don't have that much of an upturned nose, though, which is why I find that so surprising.
It is. It's weird. It's kind of got a tiny little button on it, I guess. I don't know.
Like a button mushroom. That is so vegan. All right. Well, our next speed date question is, what is your most recent Google search?
Okay, so this one's super random again. It was actually Mill Park Macca's or Mill Park McDonald's for any of the Brits playing. Playground. Because basically, I don't know how this come up, but me and my housemate were talking about kids' birthday parties, and then it come up about like Macca's birthday parties, and she was going, oh yeah, it's so cool, like you get to go in the kitchen, and I was like, oh, I don't really remember that bit, but the playground's awesome. She was like, what playground? My housemate's from the UK, so she was like, what playground are you talking about? And I was like, the playgrounds at Macca's. I was like, they're the best bit. Like, it's like a full crazy jungle gym, slides. And she was like, that's not a thing. And I was like, oh my God, I have to show you. So obviously the one that I grew up going to was Mill Park.
And you know what? It just shows the times we live in, because I'm just imagining the amount of COVID that's on those kids' playgrounds that have like sticky surfaces on there.
Oh my gosh, yeah, imagine. They are not COVID safe. Shut down the playgrounds, Macca's. The UK was right not bringing them in.
Well, they've done well there. So our third and final question of speed date round to get to know Sam a bit better is, what is your pet peeve? And I know that I feel like you're always telling me, I hate this, I hate that, I hate it when people do this, but you're going to have to just pick one, Sam. What is your biggest pet peeve?
Yeah, I get annoyed by people a lot. I think probably my biggest pet peeve, or the thing that I probably complain about most actively and loudly, is people who walk really slowly and you can't get around them. They basically make it impossible for you to pass them, but they're so slow and you're just stuck. It happens a lot, I feel like, on holiday, trying to get around. Oh,
Yeah, I totally feel that. And I feel like we struggle, especially on holidays in Europe, when the walkways are quite skinny, the ground's really slippery, and you have really weak ankles, so you just fall over.
I do fall over a lot. I do. It's
Yeah.
probably because I'm trying to scoot around the people.
Exactly. And I have to become the trip advisor to advise you of the trip so you don't slip over.
Oh, I think that's one of the best things that you've ever become. My trip advisor on holiday.
It has been a very useful job role of mine. So okay, well, this episode is all about the weird and wonderful things that people do before and after sex. And we've had heaps of funny submissions from listeners out there. So yeah, listen closely and you might hear your own. But up first, the reason we wanted to do this episode is because you inspired me with a story of yours of something that happened recently. So I'm going to throw over to you and then I'll tell you one as well back.
Yeah. So basically was dating this guy. We'd probably been on maybe like 5 or 6 dates. We'd already sort of slept together. So anyway, we go on a date. Maybe it's our 6th, let's say. Let's give him a name. Let's call him Barry. What? Barry. Why did I think of that? Let's call him Barry. Anyway, Barry and I go to the pub. We get pissed, basically. Come back to mine and, pretty much know what's going to happen at my house.
Yep.
We get into my room, we're kissing,
Nice.
One thing's leading to another, and then he kind of like stops me and kind of like is like, stop, no. And I was like, oh my God, what? And he was like, I haven't done my Spanish lesson for the day and it's nearly midnight, I'm gonna lose my streak. And I was like, wait, what? It's like, I'm half naked. What are you talking about?
He's sitting there in bra and underwear and he's got his Duolingo app out to do his Spanish.
Literally, he grabs his phone and he goes, I've got to do my Duolingo. I'm 150 days in. I can't break the streak.
Oh my God.
And I was basically just like pissing myself laughing, thinking maybe this was a joke. I was like, he's kidding. Yeah. He's got to be kidding.
Yeah,
Maddie, he was not kidding.
No, so he's just sitting there. What was he learning in Spanish on that day? Fruits and veg, numbers, like there's lots of different things.
There was a lot about like men and women, like
good. Relevant.
She goes to the shop or like he picks up his son. I don't know, like I don't even know what that means. But
oh my God.
So yeah.
Well, something similar happened to me a few years ago. I went out with a guy a couple of times and then he ended up coming back to my house for a sleepover and we get into bed and I can just hear the FaceTime like and I was like, what the hell? And then suddenly like these babies pop up on the screen and I was like, oh my God.
Babies.
There was babies. And I was like, what is going on? And he's just like, hey guys. He goes, Mads, this is my baby cousins. I just wanted to introduce them to Auntie Mads.
What?
And I was like, yeah. I was like, what the hell? And we're like talking. He's like talking to them, being like, this is my Mads, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, okay, I knew there was something not right about him. Like, what the hell? I'm not Auntie Mads.
Too good to be true. How many dates in?
Probably 2 or 3. Like, we definitely were not an item yet. Like, it was just early days. And apparently I'd taken on the title of Auntie Mads. So it happened sooner than you think, getting god kids. Oh, God. So we've had a lot of submissions this week from all of the listeners, which is I'm really excited about because they're bloody hilarious. So I'm going to read them out to you now and I'll put on the voice disguiser so you guys out there can tell when I'm reading out a submission. So here's our first one.
She put on compression socks because her feet got super fat after sex.
Do you know what? Fair play. If she knows it's going to happen, she's just prepared.
I know, but I feel like taking your socks off, like it's quite a polarizing thing, socks on or off during sex. And so imagine she takes her socks off and he's like, yes, and then only to just put on her way larger, more intense and serious socks.
I guess, do you know what you could do? I always wonder if you could disguise them with like sexy stockings on top.
Oh, that's a smart idea. If you're out there listening, whoever you are, that put on compression socks, or as my Italian friend Antoine says, blood socks.
Blood socks?
Yeah, he calls them blood socks.
Ew.
I don't know. Yeah. I didn't know what he meant for ages, but yeah, apparently they're compression socks. So the more you know, if you're trying to translate broken English from Italian and they're saying blood socks, they mean compression socks.
Good to know.
It is good to know. So here is our next submission.
We had sex under the American flag and he saluted it when he finished.
Okay, this guy's definitely a Trump supporter, just throwing it out there.
I think so.
Can you still be a Trump supporter now? Like, I mean, are you just supporting him in his retirement? Are you just supporting him chilling at home? Like, what are they supporting him in?
Might have to get an Aussie flag and put that above the bed. Start saluting it.
Yeah, love that for us. All right, here's our next submission.
He cut the sex short so he could watch Coronation Street.
So if you're playing in Australia, Coronation Street is like the English version of Neighbours. So you're not going to miss much if you miss an episode.
I mean, I feel like Game of Thrones or something you might do. Something that's like timely and you can't be missing out. But Coronation Street.
Coronation Street, no, hun.
Oh, God.
Oh, all right.
My friend had sex with a guy who was so sweaty she got a hairdryer to dry the bed afterwards while he was still there.
I feel sick thinking about how sweaty he must be.
Honestly, the bed must have been completely soaked for you to have absolutely no regard for this bloke's feelings and just whip the hairdryer out straight away.
Yeah. I mean, that is a kick in the teeth. Like,
yeah, like just look what you did.
I mean, maybe it was like the middle of summer and they were in like the south of Spain. No,
yeah,
probably not.
You'd hope so. This was an Australian submission, so I'm gonna say it wasn't.
Okay,
that wasn't the case.
It gets hot in Australia. It could have been like a 45-degree scorcher.
Yeah, you know what? They've got aircon, Sam. I'm not giving this guy the benefit of the doubt.
Okay.
All right, next one.
During sex, he said we should FaceTime Lorraine. Lorraine is his mum.
So was this the same guy that started FaceTiming his baby cousins that I slept with? Because if you're out there listening, stop doing that.
Yeah, stop doing that. That is not cool. You don't be FaceTiming Lorraine or your baby cousins after. No. Yeah, it just makes me think of that Bridget Jones quote. I'm going to try and do it. You know when she's just had sex with Hugh Grant and she like rolls over and she goes, Bridget Jones, wanton sex goddess with a very bad man between her thighs.
Oh, hi, Mum.
Hi, Mum.
Genuinely, learn from Bridget Jones.
Don't do it.
Oh, all right, here's the next one.
She made me watch the Paris Hilton YouTube documentary before we had sex.
So, you know what? I actually don't think this is that bad.
It's something to watch. I mean, like Netflix and chill, but instead it's Paris Hilton documentary and chill.
Yeah, exactly. I actually don't think this is that bad. So, yeah, whoever's out there, consider yourself lucky that they made you watch something so awesome.
Yeah. I mean, I really want to watch it now. I'm like...
Yeah. Let's watch it after this, and maybe we can do an episode about it.
Get Paris on the pod.
Let's reach out to Paris. We can get, hashtag Paris on Mads World or something. All right, here's our next one.
She started applying for a job at Royal Mail with the laptop on the bed right after we'd shagged. Full application in process while I was still finding my trousers.
So you got to respect the hustle of this girl applying for a job at Royal Mail. Maybe she was made redundant.
I don't think it's that bad. I'm like, maybe she needed to get it in on time or something.
Yeah, quick shag, quick job application.
She's on the grind. I think let's give her a chance to get her job.
Yeah, I think play on player to this one. All right, next one.
He went into another room to peel his skinny jeans off because they were so tight he was embarrassed.
I mean, that boy is from Essex.
Yeah, we all lived through 2010. We know how tight skinny jeans can be.
Yeah, I mean, he didn't have to go in the other room, I think, maybe is the takeaway here.
Yeah, I think maybe I understand doing the little hop around, the little dance around the room is quite embarrassing. It's something that we like to do on our own, but if you're already, getting down and dirty with someone, then they can probably see you do that embarrassing dance because there's parts of sex that are way more embarrassing in my opinion.
Also, if you've gone home with someone with jeans that skinny, you can see them.
Yeah, like she already knows. She already knows what your legs look like, bro, because those jeans are painted on.
Yeah.
All right, here's our next one.
He smashed 2 tins of tuna before he was getting his protein fix.
Now that was a tongue twister. 2 tins of tuna.
2 tins of tuna.
So this one, I think, is funny, but also maybe he just hadn't been to the gym that day and he really needed to use the sex as a workout. So I kind of respect the hustle here as well.
Yeah, I see what you're saying, but I would be wanting him to be brushing his teeth. I mean, tuna stinks.
Yeah, that's not a vibe, especially when you're a vegan.
Yeah, I don't touch tuna with a 10-foot pole, so...
You did get that fake tuna the other day, which was quite...
I haven't tried it yet. Stay tuned.
Stay tuned, everyone. We'll let you know what Sam thought of the... What's it called? Does it have a pun name? Like
Probably Funa or something.
Funa. Good.
Let's go with that.
Let's go with that. All right, here's our next submission.
I had to stop mid-sex and get my stand-up goal on my Apple Watch.
So, was this the Duolingo guy too? Feels like.
I mean, this sounds like something I'd do. I love my Apple Watch. I only got one recently, guys, and I'm addicted. When it tells me to stand up, I'm like, oh, better stand up.
If it says jump, you say how high.
I'm like, how many times? Like, my housemate and I will be sitting watching TV because that's all we can do at the moment in lockdown. Yep. And it'll like go ding and it goes time to stand up, or Sam, only 10 more minutes left of activity to shut your rings, and I'm like, I'm on it, and I'll just like march on the spot.
Stunning work. Well, yeah, I mean, maybe this was your submission. Guess we'll never know. They are anonymous. No, it was Lexi.
Sucked in, Lexi.
Hi, Lexi. Sucked in. All right, next one.
He asked me what my favourite Harry Potter quote is and then acted out his.
It really depends what your favourite Harry Potter quote is. My favourite Harry Potter quote is when they're in the first movie, it's the chess game scene, and then Ron looks at Harry and goes, "Not me, not Hermione, you, Harry."
I already knew it was going to be that quote because you say it just like in normal life.
It's because my mum loves it. She calls me into the room and says, "Mads, it's about to happen. It's about to play." And I'm just like, "What is?" And she's like, you know what's coming.
You know. The best quote of all time.
Stunning quote. What's your favorite Harry Potter quote?
Oh my god, there's so many. So, do you know what I really love? And it's so niche. It's when Molly Weasley, when Harry and Ron take the car, and then they nearly like die. And she's like, "No note, car gone. You could have been killed, or worse, seen."
I thought you were going to say, or worse, expel, but that's
Hermione's one. So maybe that, or maybe like a Professor Quirrell, like troll in the dungeon. Thought you ought to know.
Troll in the dungeon. Thought you ought to know.
So this, I think, is a bit weird. I don't think I would be turned on by someone acting out a Harry Potter scene.
Me either. I mean, Harry Potter's a great movie. I love watching it. I don't love quoting it before sex and then watching someone act it out. Like, maybe he was just waiting to act out his and he only asked her because he wanted to tell her his quote. I don't know.
Yeah, I think probably that is it.
That's definitely it. Maybe he just is a really good actor. We'll never know.
We'll never know. You should go back to this person. I'd like to know the scene.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to be asking because, yeah, that's an intriguing one. So listen out next week and I'll follow up with what Harry Potter quote it was. All right, here is our second last submission.
He was a manager at a supermarket and gave me a $2 voucher meant for disgruntled customers.
Right. I mean...
No!
What?
First of all, like, that's just the equivalent of, like, a gold coin, like, in Australia.
That's £1.
What are you buying for that?
And I feel like groceries in Australia are, like, expensive anyway. Like, $2 doesn't get you even a can of Coke.
Apparently, he ripped it off. This person told me he ripped it off like a booklet full of $2 vouchers as well.
So he could have given her, like, $10.
Yeah. Like... Oh, I no.
Is it payment for sex? Is that prostitution?
I don't know, but like, you wouldn't like to think that you're worth a $2 Coles voucher, would you? You'd hope to be worth a little bit more.
little bit more. Let's make it $5.
Yeah, at least a $5. Jeez. All right. Well, here's our last submission.
He said he could speak Italian and then just recited the entire Costa menu to me in Italian.
So this one came from an Italian person, so I don't know who this guy thinks he's impressing.
Should we tell everyone at home? Well, in Oz, Costa is like a coffee chain, if you don't know.
So it's like Gloria Jean's or Michelle's Patisserie where you used to work, actually.
Shout out to Michelle's.
Shout out. Sponsor the podcast.
I think they've all closed down now, but...
Oh, good. Well, RIP. Well, that is all of our submissions from everyone listening at home. And thank you for joining the podcast again, Sam. You've been an absolutely stellar guest, as usual.
Oh, this was an absolute delight to join. Those stories have made my week.
Yes.
I'll be sharing this podcast high and low.
High and low, to the hills and beyond.
Yeah, everyone should hear these stories. And also, I feel like if you keep getting more, just keep sharing them with the world.
Yeah, keep listening out and we'll report back. Also, Sam's going to let us know in the next episode how her Funa was, fake tuna.
Stay tuned for the Funa review, guys.
You could start a Funa podcast.
Or just the fake meats podcast. I feel like I've tried all of them under the sun.
We'll go back to the drawing board on that because it's quite niche, so we'll see.
Yeah, it's probably not for really anyone except myself.
Yeah, you'll love it because it's right up your alley.
It's right up my alley. I'll just go back and listen to old reviews of fake meat.
In case you forget how your bacon was or
Yeah.
your Funa. Beautiful. All right, well, thanks for joining the pod, Sam, and I'll chat to you soon.
Bye.
I hope you enjoyed my chat with Sam. Please do let me know on my Instagram at madsworld.mp3 if you have any stories or thoughts for the podcast of your own to share. And yeah, remember to subscribe, rate and review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Love and elbow taps. Peace.